So, welcome back again to Conexión Circular, your hub for sustainable topics. I'm Viridiana Bello. Today, we are diving into exciting topic with our guest, very special guest, Anita Nouri. She's an entrepreneur and sustainability expert who pioneered the first landfill gas to energy project in the region. Welcome, Anita, to our discussion on powering progress, exploring the potential of waste to energy.
Thank you so much, Viridiana. It's my pleasure and honor to be on this podcast, and any chance and opportunity I have to speak about waste and what we should do and how we can support and make our planet a more sustainable place. I'm there and I'm ready to speak about that.
Thank you so much. So let's get down to business, and we're gonna start talking about how waste is coming or transforming energy. So, Anita, turning waste into energy sounds interesting. Can you explain how projects like these make electricity or other types of energy?
So, waste to energy is such a wide scope, and it's such a huge topic to speak about. It's not just one technology. So it can be incineration, it can happen through degassing of a landfill, which is what we have done and are doing, and it can be from capturing the exhaust from other industries, and you can use this waste gas or waste gases and produce power. Can we stop 1 second because I did something?
So for those that we don't know, how does it work? Like you say, okay, I'm a consumer, I put my garbage on a trash bin and then they go directly to the landfill, and the landfill, what is happening?
Okay, so that is the basic opinion that most people have and the idea that they think of what happens. So once we throw away our trash, we forget about it. And this is where I'd like to step in and have waste management sustainability in the way that we think of how we deal with our trash. So waste to energy, like we mentioned before, what I target is landfills, and landfills are receiving a lot of waste. There are incineration plants that are up and working now in Dubai and in Sharjah, and Abu Dhabi is next in the line. For me, this solves a problem, but what it does is every solution sometimes, even though it has a silver lining, it also has a little bit of a gray cloud in there. The gray cloud that I see in there is the fact that now our obligation to separate the waste disappears because we're going to burn it. So that
sorry.
It's okay. So when we think that incineration plants makes us lazy, it should actually make us more thoughtful. The landfills are still existing, and in this region that is still landfilling, those landfills need to be degassed. It needs to stop the emission of methane that's going into the atmosphere, and when we degas a landfill, we put a network of pipes under the ground, we put negative pressure on those pipes, and we pull the gas off. That gas can generate power. That power can generate a power source for use either on the landfill, for a recycling facility, for a mining center, or for industrial use. And then that's how you deal with the landfill. At the end of that, you can then cover a landfill with solar panels once you've degassed it, and then you can generate power from the solar panels. And then what's left and coming to the landfill, if we separate it properly and we take, and there is legislation in place to make sure that the people separate their waste properly, then part of it can go to the incineration plants, a little portion can go to the agriculture, recycling, food waste recycling, fertilizer plants, composting plants, and then a small portion of it will still always end up in the landfill. but then we reduce our impact on the environment. And this is what circularity in waste management means: how to deal with the whole picture and how to separate it into easy parts, making sustainability a little bit easier, putting the knowledge out there and having the people know what to do. Every time you change your batteries on your little toys for your children, or the channel converter, we tend to throw these out in the garbage. These are leaching into our landfill, it's leaching into the ground, and it's causing a lot of problems for us. But if we knew how to separate it, and if there is proper legislation that is forcing you to separate it, then it can make a change. And those little batteries contain a lot of minerals, and expensive minerals that can support reuse. There's copper, there is titanium, there is gold, there is all kinds of things in the computers that we throw out. Or I have friends that don't want to throw it out, so they end up storing it. So now they've got a storage room full of old technology that nobody can use.
Yes.
It's a lifestyle, and we have to, it's not bad to want more, but we have to want more with a thought process behind us, not just wanting more and then throw the rest away. We have to find a way to reuse it, repurpose it, maybe clean it up and send it off to countries that are in need, countries that are coming out of a war that need technology. Our old technology might be new for them. So if we think about it, and governments and politicians and even big corporates support this, then it can make a big change. We don't need to make more. We can use what we have and make a little bit more.
Yes, like a bit more efficient. So we're gonna break down this that you had mentioned, because I think one important thing that you highlight is that most of the people, they don't know where is the landfill, like where your garbage is going, no? So where is the landfill that in your town, in your city? Because as you mentioned, like we have the trash, we put in the bin, and then let's go. And there is several steps before to make the landfill in a suitable project that fits in a circular economy. So as you mentioned, like the environmental impact. So we're gonna discuss a little more about this for the people that don't understand why the landfill has a very huge impact in the environment, no? Because there are gases that there, and so how does changing landfill gas into energy help stop climate change?
So landfills are the biggest emitter of methane into the atmosphere from human activity. Mm-hmm. So every time, and methane is produced through the decomposition of the organic portion that's going into a landfill. So all the food, agriculture, even furniture, even textiles, anything that is carbon-based, when you throw it out, that will start to decompose. Your plastic bottles will be living there for 500 to 1,000 years. Someone is going to dig into these landfills and say, my goodness, look at what these people threw out. Metals and glass will be there for thousands of years. I mean, they dig into landfills in, I don't know, even all over the world, as in archaeology, and you find how people lived. So we judge how they lived by their waste dumps. And we are going to be judged the same as how we're judging everybody else, because that's how they're going to see how we lived. They're going to say they drove vehicles that would explode. I mean, yes. This is, something far off in the future. Hopefully there is a future and we won't be there to see it. But it's something that we're responsible for, because we're leaving the planet to the next generations to come. So everything that's carbon-based will decompose. When that decomposition happens, it emits methane. Methane is 28 times more harmful than CO2. It's actually closer to 80 times more harmful, but according to UNFCCC, they mark it at 28. And when you can capture that gas, methane is what's in natural gas. Natural gas is 98% methane. Landfill gas is around 50 to 60% methane. The rest is CO2 and some other volatile compounds, gases, but it's mostly CO2 and methane. And you can put that through a landfill gas engine, which is a combustion engine that burns that gas, emits CO2 rather than methane. It's still not good, but it's better than what it's happening now, and you can generate power. Yes. There are technologies out there that can capture the CO2 and do something with it, but CO2 capture from landfill gas is a little bit difficult because the volatile compounds are a little bit high and nitrogen is a little bit high, and it's hard to get rid of that. But there is a way to make the odors disappear, to make it not catch fire, to make it more environmental, and in the end to close them and cover them and cap them and put solar or make them green. But it's all a stepwise process. It's not something that can happen in a blink of an eye or in the next 5 years. It'll take time, but it takes thinking and it takes planning. There are landfills in North America that I know of that have become parks, that have become golf courses, and they still produce power to give power to the houses around the area. And nobody knows where that power comes from. It's coming from the landfill gas. So there is a lot of benefits to degassing a landfill, and this is where it supports the environmental initiatives. And if we can reduce the waste that's going to the landfill, that's even better. But what is there now, we need to do something with that. And the whole GCC region is landfilling their waste. We're behind in Europe. Europe is much ahead of us, and so is North America, but we can catch up. And I always say, don't be ashamed of your waste that you have, because we're an economy that's in growth. So we can do something with it and make a positive impact and show that we are taking responsibility for what we have done and the speed and that we have grown, and do something good. There's always a way to do something good.
Yes, so for example, for the key points that you had mentioned is like, okay, we as a consumer has a responsibility to reduce this impact in the environment, because as you mentioned, like the food waste is the highest amount that is the food waste produce the methane, and the methane is very dangerous for the environment because they keep more the heat on our earth, and that is make it increase the temperature, no? And also, as you mentioned,
it's a cause of global warming. So greenhouse gas, methane is one of the greenhouse gases that increases global warming, because it's more harmful than CO2. So and nothing happens to it. So CO2 can be used, like the trees that you plant, deforestation, it takes CO2 and it puts out oxygen. But methane, nothing takes methane. So it's better to utilize it in power.
Yes, so I mean, that is the importance of your project, because when you take this gas, because as you mentioned, and I think nobody knows what happened with the methane. The methane is there in the atmosphere and nobody can take it. So we need trees, but we need trees for the CO2. But what is happening with the other gases that is released in other processes? We need some projects that take from the atmosphere and then reduce it. If not, it's impossible. And what is happening is our behavior or everything that we do is releasing this kind of greenhouses emissions to the environment, and we are not doing anything to take it down from and avoiding the climate change, the global warming, no? So we have you have worked a lot in this project. You have mentioned about the USA example of the how they can use it, because the landfill is a place, no, it's a land that maybe can have another use, and also you have this advantage of the energy, no? So how can waste to energy initiatives be integrated in a broader circular economy framework? Because we have the consumers, we have for example, now that I'm working on the gas, and then how we can close the loop.
So you said something that I just want to go back to. You said something with avoidance. So putting a solar project and making power from solar is avoiding emissions. Putting a landfill gas project into a landfill and degassing that landfill is an actual reduction project. There is a difference in the two. So one is avoiding emissions, and that's good. But the landfill is reducing the amount of emissions that are going and harming our environment. And with a reduction project, it's much more important and critical to do this. And the landfills that used to exist here, like in Dubai, for example, used to be out in the middle of nowhere. Now there is a lot of houses and the city has grown so much. Everything is moving out towards the desert. So what used to be far away from the city is now in the middle of the city. So you have a mountain of waste with over 70 million tons of waste buried in that ground. And what are we doing with it? We need to degas it. It needs to go to the next stage, and we need to use that to generate power, which will reduce the emissions, which will reduce the smells, which will stop any fires from happening, and it will make it much more environmental. And then you can think about how to remediate that land later and turn it into something that can be of a benefit being in the middle of the city. They're doing that in Sharjah. They're now have their incineration plant working. They're thinking about putting solar on top of the landfill, and hopefully we will degas that landfill for them and generate power to support the site operations. And then solar can generate power for them as well, and then it closes the loop. So everything working together like a machine is what will close the loop. But there has to be economics behind it. So people will do good to a certain point until it starts to cost too much. If it costs too much, they won't do it. So when you go to a big corporate and say, oh, we're going to help you reduce your emissions and become more sustainable, but it's going to cost you this much in your infrastructure to change this and to change that, and then all of a sudden it affects their bottom line, and everything is based on economics because people need to make money. So then it doesn't happen. But if it becomes mandated and if it becomes necessary to do it, or if the cost of dumping your waste goes up on a landfill, then all of a sudden people will start thinking what they're dumping. Right now, the households pay a fee to Dubai municipality, for example, for waste collection. If that fee doubles, won't you think about what you're throwing out? Because if they come to you and they say, okay, well, we were taking one bin from you, now we're taking 2 bins, so that extra bin is going to cost you 200 dirhams or 500 dirhams. You'll think about it. You'll say, wait a minute, maybe I should have my own little composting in my backyard, or maybe I should tell my building to put recycling bins that are better and more usable and more out there for people to see and to use and to actually make an impact. and then you reduce the amount of waste you're dumping. Because the responsibility is not on our shoulders, we tend to throw it off on someone else.
Yes.
It's very easy to blame the government. The government here is very innovative. They're very much celebrating innovation, and they want to bring in technologies that can support waste reduction, but it's up to us to help them to make that happen. We have to ask the questions. You can call the municipality, you can ask them, where is the closest facility for recycling? Or who can I call to come and pick up my waste from my house because I have furniture that I want to get rid of? You know, the people don't think of asking. Like, we've become lazy in our day-to-day lives. And I think that that's also part of the problem. If you don't ask and you don't see and you don't want to see, then you won't see it.
Yes. I think that something that has changed is like, for example, the globalization make us to lose this kind of connection with the people and with the environment, because before, if you live in a small town, you know that who is the person that is doing your clothes, is doing your food, and you know, for example, how long it takes to throw away the garbage or something like that. But now, when this kind of things, like as you mentioned, is now like convenience, like, okay, I have this, but after I put my garbage of trash on the funnel and then disappear. But no, it's not disappear, it's there. And there is the mountain, because most of the cities like that, they have it. And for example, it will depend of the country, but because some countries as USA in New York, the amount that you pay to dispose of your garbage is higher, because they have to drive, I think, around more than 100 kilometers from New York Island to dump it in another place that is far away of New Jersey. So I think, yes, as you mentioned, the awareness, like what is my responsibility? Because at the end, I am producing that kind of garbage. So my responsibility is to change also my behavior to reduce it. And that is the next role of education and awareness, like how we can engage communities and raise awareness about the importance of waste to energy projects and reducing waste, as you mentioned before, because maybe it's a team. I think it has to be a teamwork between the government that give the option that you know where you can dispose these things. For example, the furniture and the batteries, and you know. But also it has to be awareness.
Well, there are people that come and collect this. It's just that you have to find them. So why is it so difficult to find them? And then when you ask someone, they'll say, oh yeah, we're doing that. But are you really doing that? Or you're just saying that because you want to look like you're doing it? So we need to put action behind our words. We've talked so much. There needs to be more action. And education is a big part of this. So going into the schools with people that are in the industry, in the waste industry, and to explain what they see and what's happening, and show the pictures, let the children learn and understand that, you know, it's not always about having the newest iPad and, oh, mine is already 2 years old. Well, why do you need a new one? It's 2 years old. First of all, why do you need an iPad when you're only in grade 2? And you should be playing outside. Okay, we live in a country that's very hot in the summer, but there are a lot of activities that are indoor that children can go and use. And, you know, if it becomes more affordable, maybe more children can go, and, you know, we can teach each other to live a little bit simpler and play with each other, rather than sitting at a table. So many times I'll go for dinner or a coffee somewhere, and then I see 4 people sitting at a table, all of them on their phone. Nobody is talking with each other. It even happens in my house. My daughter and her friends will come over and we're going to watch a movie, but everybody's on the phone. So what are you doing? Are you watching them? Oh yeah, we're listening. Yeah, but you're not. You're not. Like, the world has gone crazy. I hate to say it, but it's really sad. I mean, we don't have a start time and we don't have an end time. And when you don't have an end time, that means you're working all the time. And when is there time to think and relax and make your brain calm down to have some ideas and to reduce, to not reduce, but reduce our own brain emissions? We need to make ourselves more sustainable, because it's hard. It's hard on your physical and emotional self to be always on the go. And this is what we're doing to our planet. So we're dumping so much waste, we're making it toxic for the environment and for the world, and then new allergies come up and new diseases come up, and we think that someone has done it, but we've done it to ourselves. So how do we fix that? We take a step back, we think about it, we try and make a positive impact. Education, awareness, talking to the people, having a phone line that they can phone and say, I'm worried about this. That's even a big thing. Where can I dump my waste? That's a big thing. I get phone calls from friends saying that, okay, you worked at the landfill, where can we dump this? And I'm doing a renovation in my house, where do I take all this waste? So I said, well, you can have to call a waste collector. Oh, well, how do I do that? Well, what do you mean, how do I do that? You just have to look for it. The municipality is a great channel, and they will direct you perfectly. They have their own website that tells you all of the companies that collect waste, and you can pick and choose. And these companies are looking for ways to help their bottom line by picking up that waste. I mean, there is waste around it. We've got blinders on and we don't really want to see it. And in one of my posts, I wrote trash is cash, and it really is, because we're talking about trash, but there is a way to turn that into a positive. And I think that if we are more thoughtful in how we purchase and how we use and how we repurpose, then it will support and help the world as a whole. Even we didn't get into fashion industry and fast fashion, and this has become a new buzzword, but really it's awareness that's coming up that when you're putting your clothes into a recycling bin that is going to go, and you think that it's going to Africa, for example, to help them, what we wear here is different than what they wear there. And the way we handle waste here is different than the way they handle waste in other parts of the world. So it has to become region specific. So why would my business suit jacket do any help to someone who's living in Ghana? Yes. I mean, maybe in or Congo. Like, it's not gonna, we're not thinking.
Solution
we're just getting rid. Yeah, we're just getting rid of it.
Yes.
So just getting rid of it without thinking is not really getting rid of it. It's putting our waste into someone else's backyard, which is something we don't want to do.
Yes, no,
but
there
that
are countries.
Be a topic for another day.
But there are as you mentioned, there are countries that now they are facing these things because, for example, I think it's Philippines that is saying, okay, but I know the trash bin for all the world because I'm receiving all the plastic, but now I can do because they don't have the technology. And I think something that we have to highlight, as you mentioned, like, okay, all this information that you are giving us today is very important because, for example, the thing, just to think about, okay, methane, you need something to take it out of the atmosphere. Second, you have to reduce your consumption, because if you are reducing your consumption, we don't have more waste, and also we are having we consume wisely the resources. Another thing that you have mentioned is also make a question before you purchase something, like do I really need this one? Do I really need? Or also like when you buy it, like you can, why you want to buy something that is already peeled, like the bananas in a box of plastic, instead to buy So these little changes really help a lot.
Or even something. They had Emirates Biofarm had that ugly fruit box, or was it Hero? One of them had it, and it was at the Spinneys, and you could buy like a bag of tomatoes for 5 dirhams. Some were small, some were big, some were funny shaped. But you know what? I loved those, because they taste exactly the same. So who cares what it looks like? It's going in my salad. I mean, people are silly. Why are they picking the most beautiful looking, like, unless they're going to be doing a decoration on their table, then okay, I understand. It's Christmas, you want to do a fruit and vegetable decoration on your table, then you want everything to look beautiful, but otherwise you're eating it. I mean, really, like, it's so silly. And
like
so
apples,
much,
no? Like
so much food. Yeah, so much food goes into the garbage because people will not buy something that's a little bit bruised. Buy a juicer and throw it in your juicer, and then you don't have to buy juice that's already squeezed because you have a juicer. If you're buying even a fashion item like clothing, and you spend a little bit more and buy something that's a little bit sturdier, you wear it, then put it away for 1 or 2 years, and then wear it again, and people will think, oh, did you buy this new? Well, oh yeah, no, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice. But I've had it for 10 years. But I mean, nobody remembers or knows that. We don't think about what we do. But if it's a good quality item, like a good quality jacket, okay, I paid more, but it will last me for a long time, and I can repurpose it in a way that it can benefit me and the planet at the same time. So it's not always good to buy the cheap 10 dirham t-shirt, because you're going to wear it twice and then it becomes garbage, and then what? So spend a little bit more, but wisely, and think a little bit more when you're dumping, and look at what the people around you are doing. And if you see something and a way to help someone, tell them. When they see you not taking the straw or bringing your own cup to the coffee shop or using a glass cup, they'll think about it too. And then you know, it's a nice thing. Like, why do we need, when I go and buy a coffee to go, they put a lid on it. I tell them, no, I don't need the lid. And they go, no, but we have lots. Yeah, but why? I don't need it.
No, really,
you know? Or make the coffee so burning hot that they have to give you 2 cups. Like, what is that? That's completely crazy. Don't make it that.
Make it simple. That will be the close line of this amazing podcast. Make it simple, because all your insights are awesome, because you put on the ground, like, really, why, like, these small changes change a lot the way we behave, and when we change the way we behave, we have some impact in all around us, because the people is looking at you and you are changing. So I know that we can have more time talking about this, but Anita, I want to thank you so much for sharing all your expertise and insights, because now I have learned a lot about the team and everything, and I hope the people that are listening us today, we're gonna put a list where you can find places to the information about the waste, because I think we need to spread awareness and support each other. So thank you so much, and stay tuned for next time on Conexión Circular.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.